what's going on? Adam, Mark, William, Ben, everybody else hanging out. What's happening, y'all? Welcome into a brand new episode of Snaps. Hope you all had a great weekend. T-Bob Abear and Aaron Murray back with you here on this, what's today? Monday. How about it? Hell yeah, dude. We got a full weekend of sports to recap and life. I would describe today's show as a bit of college football tapas, as I've got a lot of small kind of bite-sized plates for us to share on. I don't think we don't have a big like porterhouse steak of a topic, but I do have you, Coach Prime, feeling the heat a little bit, maybe a little overly defensive. You know how I like to say, methinks the lady doth protest too much. We have our first AP poll, and pretty fucking similar to the coaches poll, but we'll get to it. On3 released their top 10 SEC players in 2024. Cam Ward revealed what he believes is the most important piece to playing quarterback. We'll pick Aaron's brain on that. A&M suffers a major injury, not to want to be left out after Notre Dame suffered one of theirs. We have another all-time good Jim Harbaugh line. I've got an Iowa quarterback competition on the Athletic, if we have time. The Athletic gave us 13 unranked teams who could potentially make playoffs, so we can see where we agree or disagree. It's going to be a fun show today, a bit all over the place. But as we let people trickle in here to the show, as always, guys, hit the like button, subscribe, please help grow the show. Your boys out here doing this thing independently nowadays. Aaron, what's up, brother? How's your weekend?
Dude, weekend was great. We're less than 2 weeks away from toe meeting leather, so it's actually kind of cool watching some NFL preseason. Your boy Jaden dropped a dime down the sideline.
Have you heard the whole story of it too?
No.
It was 3rd and 6. They had a screen pass called, and he said, fuck it, and checked it to the bomb, and then dropped it there. And after the game, Dan Quinn had a great quote where he was asked about it, and he was basically like, did he like? He's like, that's complicated. He called it his Top Gun, can I buzz the tower moment, because Dan Quinn did not want him to do that shit, and he said, fuck it, I'm buzzing the tower.
What I always tell you about quarterbacks, you have to play the line of being a little bit cocky, a little bit more confident if you want to have success. And as a rookie, if you're going to make those moves and show off that confidence for the football team, you better execute. So I can tell you one thing right now. A lot of guys in that locker room are saying, we got our dude.
I agree.
In the first game, I know it's preseason, so like there really is not a lot on the line, but to have the cojones to get up there and check a go ball and drop an absolute pearl, 40 yards down the field, I mean, absolute dime, is it sends a message to the locker room that is, I'm sure that kind of energy hasn't been in Washington in quite some time. So he looked good. I thought a lot of the quarterbacks looked good, besides my boy Stetson with the 4 picks, but finished off with a touchdown to finish it off, though.
Well, that's what I only saw the headline about the Stetson touchdown. He's one of the few that I didn't watch. He threw 4. Okay.
Luckily, he finished with the touchdown to finish it off, but the 4 picks were.
Okay. I know he had like game winning. Okay, I have so much ADD right now because there's a million things I want to say. First, if Jaden Daniels is good, I think his jersey is fucking tight. Like, I really like the Commanders colors. If he's a beast, that's a badass jersey to have. Also, how did that drive in with Jaden Daniels pulling the ball in the zone read and walking in the end zone? I agree with you. One of the most fun things over the weekend, I didn't watch the games live because I was at the lake, so I watched a lot of YouTube, but was watching all the rookie quarterbacks and stacking them up against each other. I mean, we have 6 first-round rookies to check out, and everybody looked. I mean, Drake May did nothing. He had like no play, so whatever. Drake May's whatever. I thought JJ McCarthy looked really
good. Bo looked decent. Both looked fast.
Okay,
he looked athletic.
Here's what I need you to help me with Bo Nix.
Yes.
When I watched his plays, I thought, he looks a little like slow processing. He doesn't have the arm. Like, I thought it looked okay.
It's very specific to that offense. Like you could tell they run a lot of RPOs. They ran a lot of zone reads. He was pulling it. He was running. The touchdown was an RPO in the flat. Like, the problem is when defenses start seeing that, this isn't college defenses. Like, defense are like, oh, we're playing Bo Nix, and this offense is what they're going to do. They're going to shut that shit down.
Okay, so I feel kind of validated here because in my mind, I didn't think Nix looked that great, but then the stats were like really good when I looked up like the actual numbers.
I like watching him first game, but it's very there's an NFL a lot of times, especially the fourth, at least when I played the fourth game in the preseason, the teams knew what the coverages were going to be. Like they said, okay, we're just going to run cover 2, cover 3, man, and these couple blitzes. Like it was super, super vanilla. They just want to see, can guys execute basic plays? So it was like a handshake agreement between the coaches. There's not a lot done in the preseason games. Very, very, very vanilla. So you can run a lot of that RPO stuff, and it's simple reads because you're not seeing a bunch of rotation, you're just exotic blitzes. So it plays right into what he does well. I'm telling you, if they do that in the regular season, it ain't going to be the same. So I'm still not buying Bo Nix just yet. But the other guys I thought looked good.
I thought McCarthy looked great. I thought Michael Penix Jr. looked really good and decisive and quick. I thought
Caleb looked good.
Caleb looked really good.
Spencer look. I didn't watch Spencer for
Spencer, bro. Saints fans fucking hate Derek Carr, and they are so hard for Spencer Rattler to be the starter. Even though Jake Haener actually played very well as well, both backups did. But no, Rattler's arm talent is unlike anybody that they have on that Saints team.
No. Derek has great arm strength. Don't give me that shit.
I think Rattler's a little bit better. Really? Just your arm strength, you don't think so? I mean, you would know better than I do, dude. I would cede to your opinion.
I don't know.
Derek's got good power, but I mean,
maybe I just haven't seen Derek throw live. I haven't seen Derek throw live since him and I came out together, and I just remember the ball popped out of his arm. Even his brother David had great arm strength when he was coming out. Well, if he has more arm strength than him, then Spencer's got a howitzer.
I think he does, but I'll let you be the judge of that. All right, we'll talk some quarterbacks a bit later on as well. Let's start with Coach Prime. As it was Colorado Media Days, it was also Coach Prime's 57th birthday, I believe. Happy birthday. I think he actually had his first grandson as well. His daughter had a baby. So a hell of a day, right? Seemed to be in a good mood. He sits down, there's honey buns on the table, and he's like, oh, none for me. I'm trying to work my six-pack, blah, blah, blah. Then it starts, and man, it just got real defensive real fast for Prime. And listen to this and just tell me, like, how do you interpret this? And I got to be clear. I will. Well, actually, we'll get into it after I play the video. So here's Prime. He's fielding questions from the media.
That's the end of that question, I guess. Next guy.
Eric Christensen with CBS Sports Colorado.
CBS,
Tyler,
I'm not doing nothing with CBS. Next question.
Joe Rigo, Mile
Ain't got nothing to do with you. This is above that. Ain't got nothing to do with you. I got love for you. I appreciate you, respect you. Ain't got nothing to do with you. They know what they did.
I'm here in Denver, not national.
You are who you are. CBS is CBS.
No, that's not.
Joe
Ain't got
Rigo,
nothing
Mile
to do with you. I respect you. That's why I told you that. I'm looking you in the eye as a man. I got love for you. But what they did was foul.
Okay, so that was one example there, and of course, if y'all don't know how this works, being a local affiliate, you have nothing to do.
Zero.
With actual CBS. I work at a radio station that has the title of 104.5 ESPN. We literally have zero to do with ESPN. Chat's asking, well, what did CBS do to piss him off so bad? It could have been a few things. CBS ranked him 15th out of 16 coaches in the Big 12. They covered the Shiloh Sanders bankruptcy filing, which we actually talked about on this show as well. Wrote that the Buffs had an uphill climb for bowl eligibility. The thing about this is that's all true. Like the bankruptcy stuff happened.
Yes.
Maybe, okay, you could say the ranking 15th is, that's opinion, but I don't know if that's foul. And it is an uphill climb.
And that's that ranking's a one person opinion. That wasn't, correct me if I'm wrong here, but it wasn't like a CBS polling of, let's go poll every CBS employee or anyone that deals with college football and then rank appropriately from there where these coaches lie. It was a one person's opinion. And hell, use it as motivation. Don't use it just to put everyone into a box and say, screw CBS. I think it was very defensive, a little bit immature, and just not a good look. And then listen, camp stressful. Maybe things aren't going as well as he maybe wanted to. I don't know. I'm not there in Colorado, but as an outsider looking in, if you're telling me that one of those were the reasons that he acted the way he acted, I don't know if you're going to show the other clip or not.
I couldn't find the other clip. I couldn't find the other clip. Do you want to share it on your side?
I don't think we need to. We can just break it down. To me, that signals there's some other things that are going on that are pissing him off.
Yeah, because okay, to Aaron's point, the entire thing about all of this is that it all just makes him feel overly defensive. Like another one of the interactions, he was asked about a bolstered offensive line, and he took umbrage with the word bolstered. It was like, I don't know about bolstered. I think we would use improved. Then he was asked about, okay, well, when you have all these transfer linemen, how do you create chemistry? These are valid, easy questions.
Very easy questions.
And he said, what's chemistry? Right. And so, yeah, when you look at the schedule that he is going to have to play, and you look at how they finished last year, and then you look at maybe some of the things that you've seen of camp, and it's easy to, even if this is us putting words into his mouth or motivations into his body, it is so easy to just assume that, he's defensive because he's nervous that they're going to suck. Because when you look at the schedule, it's just really tough to see where the wins are right now.
I mean, you look at the schedule now, we'll break down the AP poll, but as of right now, there are 5 teams on there. So almost half your schedule currently is ranked inside the AP top 25. You still have Nebraska on there. You have a Colorado State team that you went head-to-head with last year. That was a close game, almost lost that one. And the teams that aren't ranked are Baylor, UCF, Cincinnati, Texas Tech. So we say all that, the Big 12 is going to be tough because all these teams are so similar. So yes, he's going to be once again most likely fighting for a bowl game. Does he have one of the most talented players or quarterbacks in the Big 12? Yes, 100%. I firmly stand with what I believe about where I think Sanders stands when it comes to quarterback. I think he's a top 5 quarterback in all of college football. So you got a great piece there. You have one of the best chess pieces in all of college football, a guy that could play both ways in Travis Hunter. You hope you have an improved offensive line. You hope you filled in some other gaps on both sides of the football, but still, it's only year 2 of a roster that went 1-11 the previous season. So I don't know I think that there are maybe expectations from the outside because of who he is, but I still think realistically, people should still know this was a team 1-11, completely transformed the roster, still building in the right direction. If they get to 6-6,
huge success.
6-6 is a huge success.
Yeah,
huge success.
So here's a headline from a Denver Post columnist. I can't remember his first name. Something Keeler. It says Deion Sanders, 4-8 coach, gave a 3-9 news conference. Coach Prime showed Colorado fans a 4-letter side they hadn't seen before: fear. And then the subtitles, this was desperate Deion, a man who stared into the future and saw 5-7 staring back. Good writing, by the way. And look, to be clear, I'm a Deion fan. I was a believer
too
from the beginning. I was a believer because for all the flash, I thought there was real substance there. But this is the kind of stuff that I just it's a bit of his personality. So even if he was good,
but it's also a way of creating a certain narrative that coaches find a way to send message to their team. We joked about with Kirby 2 years ago. What was the big thing that we're all like, are you kidding me right now? When he said, the media is telling you that you guys are going to be 7-5. The media is telling you guys you're just an average football team. And they went, what was that the year they went 15-1 national championship?
Yes.
I don't know if this is Deion freaking out because there is this expectation that you are going to take a huge step in year 2 and you're going to be maybe a contender in the Big 12 without, some of the teams that are currently there. Is it that, or is it him trying to create some sort of narrative to motivate his team? And this is part of the way he's doing it. I don't know. It was very somewhat uncharacteristic though for me, because there's always a sense of confidence, is always a sense of fun, a little bit pissy here or there, but I just think this was unnecessary pissiness.
B Bean says, simple question: is Deion a good coach? Yes or no? I still say yes. His time at
Yes.
Jackson State was excellent. Colorado improved multiple games. I think he is a good football coach. I think that the turnaround, I think the most disappointing part of the Deion tenure, he has not proven to be the recruiter that I thought he would. And it's almost like Deion would have done better in a pre-NIL age because he's not into NIL.
He's done well with the portal, though.
He's
done really well with the portal.
He's also gotten bit by the portal, though. Like guys like I mean, I guess you win Kermani McClain out of recruiting, and then he ends up leaving in the portal. Yeah. Still, though, I thought high school recruiting.
What's the difference between him and Lane? Lane doesn't give a damn about high school recruiting. Lane goes through the portal. Lane also lost his top running back.
Lane's high school recruiting is still better, but
he's also recruiting in the SEC to Ole Miss a little bit different.
But he does way better out of the portal. Let's look at some on-3.
I'm not once again. I'm not saying. Of course, Lane's going to be better. Lane's more established as a head coach. Lane's more established in the SEC. Lane's at a place like Oxford, Mississippi, which is different than going to Colorado.
Okay. No, to your point, they have Colorado second on the to Louisville for 2024. Louisville, Colorado, Ole Miss, Florida State, and we do call Lane and Norvell the portal kings. Okay, so maybe I was off base for expecting him to be better at high school recruiting, but I did think that he would be better at high school recruiting.
I just think a guy that was NFL high school recruiting is just so foreign. You're used to free agency like that. To me, like that's the mindset.
That's a very good point.
It's a quick fix.
It's a very good point.
He took over a team 1-11 that needed a lot of quick fixes. No coach wants to do the slow process, but a guy like Deion, who's in the spotlight, does not want to go through the slow grind of trying to build a roster over a 3 or 4 year period through the high school ranks. He's going to focus his attention on the portal, and I don't blame him for it.
All right, so that's the prime talk of the day. Defensive, we'll see. But the other problem with this is not that Deion gives a fuck, but like when you go after the people that cover the team, you create a lot of people who are just waiting in the wings to shit on you if given the opportunity. And unfortunately, the schedule looks like he'll be given the opportunity. Bokini, what record this season would put Deion on the hot seat? I don't think there is one because he's made Colorado more relevant than they've been in 3 decades. That's not true.
There's probably more money coming into that university than they've had in the past decade. So I think if he can flirt with a bowl game, if he can just be 1 win, 2 wins better than last year, I think that's, to me, realistically improvement. I know from the outside it's not, but
it kind of sucks when you have Shadur and Travis Hunter, though, and you're not going to have them next year if you tell me you can't do better than 5 or 6.
You're going to have 2 guys drafted in the first round. When's the last time we talked about that for Colorado? And you're in a Big 12 that doesn't have Texas or Oklahoma.
Everyone, Aaron Horsby, what kind of pipe is that, T-Bob? This is a Peterson Sterling Silver. It's a Peterson Sherlock Holmes pipe. Great pipe. Very fun. All right. Next up on the list, we got our first AP Top 25 poll. Let me share it with you real quick so you can get eyes on it. Only now I'm realizing I don't have it brought up. So give me 1 second. No big changes here, though, Aaron.
Yep.
From the coaches poll. In fact, the entirety of the top 10 exactly the same, except for the coaches have Michigan 8, Penn State 9, and the AP has Penn State 8, Michigan 9.
How about A&M Miami in the top 20 for this one? Just the once again the excitement for those 2 programs, and we fall into this trap. It seems like the start of every season, so we'll see if they can both kind of stay in that region. And as you put in our notes and something I brought up last time, Iowa still getting no love with all their returners on both sides of the football. Team that won 10 games, what was it, 3 the past 5 years, I believe I said on the last show. And still at 25.
They went 10-2 regular season, 10 regular season wins, not 9-3, 10-2 with the last offense in the nation. The literal worst offense in the nation, and they went 10-2. That's championship equivalent. You should get
They should be moved up 4 spot. They should be 21. Everyone should be back a spot, maybe even USC out. Iowa should be 21. Hell, Iowa should be 19 ahead of Miami. 10-2 last year.
Yeah. No, I'm fine with moving Iowa up as much as you want. So top 5 remain Georgia, Ohio State, Oregon, Texas, Alabama. Then Ole Miss, Notre Dame, Penn State, then Ole Miss, Notre Dame, same as AP, coaches. Then Penn State, Michigan, Florida State, 10 in both. Mizzou, 11 in both polls. Slight change here. AP, Utah at 12, LSU 13. Then Clemson, Tennessee, Oklahoma, another slight change here. Kansas State at 17. Oklahoma State at 17 in the AP, Kansas State at 18. That's flipped in the coaches. And then the only other change is Kansas bumps up from 24 to 22, flipping with NC State as USC's at 23 and Iowa 25. So, nothing too much to write home about here, but it is actually somebody had a fun trivia question earlier. So give us the answer. Who was it? They said, when was the last pre-COVID year that the preseason AP number 1 won the national championship? Whoever that was, post again, and I would love to learn the answer. B-Bean says Bama at number 5 is impressive this year. Bama's gonna be so fucking good, dude. I
felt January. I was in the mindset of not like everything is crumbling, because Coach Saban built something that we all know is pretty rock solid. But the more you just think about Jalen year 2, the offense, the new offensive staff, the type of players they have, I think they're right where they need to be, right there at 5. I think they're in a perfect spot. Perfect spot.
Yeah. Yeah, they are you kidding me? It actually probably feels kind of freeing as an Alabama player.
Mm-hmm.
Like, for once, you actually really do have people counting on your downfall and saying you suck. And for once, you actually can legitimately engage with a bit of underdog narrative. And for once, you're not expected to be just the class of everything. Scott says Bama's losing to UGA, Tennessee, and LSU. Shit. I don't see it, dude. I don't see it. I think this rushing attack is going to be fucking crazy.
Mm-hmm. I think the passing game will be improved from last year. And if you have an improved passing game from a year ago, and the offense is already pretty good with average play at times from Jalen, like that's you should be scared if he can figure it out. And from what I heard in spring and some other people, and then obviously knowing that you now have a 10 times more capable person calling plays in an offense, you should be scared as hell if he figures out how to throw the football more accurately from line of scrimmage to 10 yards down the field. Because if that part of his game opens up, along with everything else, the deep ball throwing and then the running on top of that, I'm telling you, you're talking about a guy that will be in New York.
Read into this what you will, but he seemed very confident at SEC Media Days.
Jalen?
He carried himself with that comfortability that only comes when you think you're about to pop off.
Yeah.
Which, granted, maybe he won't. That's not a guarantee, but because some quarterbacks just have that irrational self-belief. But I do think he's going to pop off.
Let's just go over his stats from a year ago. 66% completion, 23 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. And then another 531 and 12 touchdowns rushing, 35 touchdowns and 6 picks. And you tell me that dude is not going to get better with Kalen DeBoer calling plays.
That was his first year starting. Look at the jump that Quinn Ewers took from year 1 to year 2. Quinn Ewers' completion percentage went up 11 points from his first year starting to second. As a player, I always thought that was the biggest difference I ever felt was from year 1 to year 2.
Well, then, 2, everything you heard from the offseason as well about Jalen was just, 1, his excitement to be in this offense, 2, that chip on his shoulder. It sucks when you lose Nye Black, Bond, Burn. You lose your top 3 guys from last year. But those other guys are all 4-star guys. They're all talented.
They also weren't that to be honest, they weren't that dominant. The weapons weren't that great last year either. No. Bond had some big moments, but he wasn't that consistent.
No.
It's one of the reasons why I'm wondering why everybody's acting. I mean, we'll see. We'll see on Texas receiving core.
Nudge, nudge. So Beck's number should go up too, ? 100% they should. There's no doubt about it.
What do you mean?
The difference between Beck and Jalen, to me, is Beck was significantly older.
Yes.
Beck is
Yes.
and this is me just somewhat guessing based on watching football my whole life and definitely covering it. Beck, I believe, played a lot more games and snaps than Jalen did leading up to last season, but still being the full-time starter, getting all the reps, being the guy, the confidence that goes with it. Yes,
Jalen was a
Beck's numbers should go
true
up.
sophomore.
Yeah.
True sophomore, whereas Beck was what, a fourth-year player?
Yes.
Yeah, that's a big difference as well. Both first-year starters, and also Beck's numbers were already kind of so good that obviously there's even less room to build upon. Whereas, like especially throwing the ball, Beck's game was very complete last year. Maybe more chunk yardage. I don't know.
It's more
Maybe,
chunk
like,
yards. I think people want to see the big plays from Beck.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, really, I want to see the big plays from the weapons.
Yeah.
Which is also part and parcel of Beck, but like that's the bigger thing holding back, I think. All right, next on this list on 3, released their top 10 SEC players of 2024. Let's go through the list, see if anybody's left off, and just celebrate some of these names. Because again, guys, we are just a couple of weeks away from college football starting, so like, it's good to know who all the major players are at play, right? Like I just found a great PFF piece that goes through the best position groups in the entire country. Like Oregon has the best receivers, Ohio State has the best secondary. So we'll do that on tomorrow's show. But at number 10 on this list for you Bulldog fans, Mikael Williams, edge defender. Obviously great against the run, doesn't have like the crazy pass rush numbers, but does have a very high pass rush grade still from PFF, but 4.5 sacks, 27 pressures. What makes Mikael Williams one of the 10 best players? Excuse me. One of the 10 best players in the SEC.
Freaking freak. Oh my God. I remember we did the meeting with him before the spring game and he came in the room. I was like, holy shit. Like, like there's those dudes that you want walking off the bus first. Mikael is one of those guys. He walked off the bus. He's all of whatever he is, 6'4", 240, 250, and just looks like someone that you do not want to be in an alley with because he's just going to.
They have him at 6'5", 265 and the Georgia website.
He's 6'5", 265. He's a monster. We all know this about Kirby's defense.
Like Cam Jordan size.
Yeah, he's a freak. There's the way the defense is, and obviously the talent that's on the defense, it's hard to really stand out.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah. But when you look at projections for next year's NFL draft, I think there's some people that have him as a top 5 pick in next year's NFL draft. I remember we talked before, like I think Carson was like 1, Mikael was number 5. Like he is that type of guy. I mean, hell, Jalen from a couple years ago, he got drafted number 1 to Jacksonville. He didn't have any crazy stats.
Yeah,
number 1 pick in the NFL draft. Like it's hard to stand out in Kirby's defense because everyone's so good and everyone is so disciplined and plays such a team-oriented style of ball that you may not have the numbers to prove it, but he'll be an early draft pick.
Great writing from Jesse Simonton of On3 because he basically said the same thing, saying that, the pass rush numbers aren't gaudy because of how Georgia funnels their defense, but he's really fucking good. Yeah. Number 9 on this list, Jalen Milroe. You already know how I feel about Milroe. I think he's poised to maybe take the biggest jump in the entire country, but they got Quinn Ewers at 8. Now, Quinn's interesting to think about because I had to stop and think for a second because I'm someone who's a bit of a Quinn truther from last year where I'm like, it's weird. We're all crowning him like he's the greatest, but like he wasn't even the best quarterback in the Big 12 last year. Oh. In fact, compared to some of the other best in the entire country, his numbers were a bit pedestrian. But then I just thought about this, which is that jump that he took from year 1 to year 2. Yeah. And if he can even take 50% or 75% of that jump, well, then he'll be awesome again.
Yeah, I just don't know if you really see that big of a jump from year 2 to year 3. Like year 1 to year 2 is the significant one, and not saying that he's hit his ceiling by any means. I think that there's still room for improvement, and hopefully you see that this season. But I don't think there's going to be as big of a jump. I don't know, man. Like the more I keep thinking about Jalen and Jalen's potential and him heading into year 2, like
I would put Miller over
Jalen. I would put Miller over yours too.
Okay,
as a purely college football rating here, not NFL projection, because I do think Quinn has the talent to play at the next level, and Jalen still needs to progress in some areas for me to feel that confidence. Purely college football, I would go with Jalen ahead of Quinn.
Number 7 on this list, I got left tackle Kelvin Banks from Texas. Again, if you're, a college football fan, you probably heard like Will Campbell. I feel like Kelvin Banks kind of gets not mentioned as much on a lot of these things, but he had the highest pass blocking grade in all of college football last year. He only allowed a single sack. This is a fun fact that shows why Texas struggled for so long, but why they're good now. When he's taken in this year's upcoming draft, it'll be the first time Texas has an O-lineman taken in the first round since 2002 when Mike Williams got drafted. Side note, Mike Williams, probably the most athletic name combination ever. There have been at least 7 or 8 Mike Williams NFL players in my life.
Yeah.
It's so fucking wild how if you're named Mike Williams, how good you are at football. In fact, I actually know of a few NFL scouts who kind of off the record would say that like they would take him over Will Campbell for whatever that's worth. Number 6, Carson Beck. Of course, probably the number 1 pick in the draft.
Yep.
A dude who could become one of the all-time UGA, CFB legends. If he can navigate this schedule, win the Natty, and win the Heisman, I mean,
greatest Georgia quarterback of all time.
Yeah. You were really, man, you had that one just loaded up, ready to nut, huh? Like, it's just how long you been percolating this Carson Beck?
I've said this offseason. I've said this offseason. If he's able to accomplish, I don't even think he needs a win.
Where's my Stetson Hive at, dude? How's he going to disrespect our guy Stetson like this?
I think if he wins that, obviously he wouldn't have 2. He'd only have 1. Stetson's 2. I think if Carson wins an SEC championship, wins the national championship, he would surpass Stetson. Because then he would turn out to be the number 1 NFL draft pick too. Because everyone always debates like, oh, well, Stafford's more talented and Stafford's a better NFL player. So everyone misconstrues all this. But if you have the college resume along with the NFL prestige, then Carson kind of debunks all that and would move into number 1.
Fuck that noise. Aaron Murray's my best quarterback of all time at Georgia. And secondly,
sorority row thinks so.
I can picture you just pumping away, doing just fucking like a little rabbit, just going room to room. I bet you shit little weird pellets too. They go in the bathroom like, what the fuck? You just go bunny fuck him and then leave your weird little rabbit shits in their bathroom and leave and then do it to their sorority mate next door. No, I again for Beck though, it's just like, can he show up in the big games? We'll see. Next on this list, number 5, and this is a name that even I didn't really know about, and then a couple of weeks somebody told me about him, and it's on me for not knowing.
Big son of a bitch.
But that is Kentucky's defensive tackle from Deion Walker from the interior last year, had 7.5 sacks, 12.5 TFLs. He wears number 0, which to be clear, I'm not like an Andy fan. I'm not like a no fun, like no single digits on defensive linemen. But if you do it, you gotta be a fucking dog. That's the only, if you are a D lineman who wears a single digit and you're getting your ass blocked, you're fucking cut. Yeah. Like get off the team.
What's worse though, 0 or 1? 0 1. Which would you prefer?
I just hate 1. I hate
1.
Even it looks so bad with that much gut space to have this little line. No, 0's tight. If you're super fat, it's super big, and you're rocking 0, and you're fucking going 7.5 sacks, 12.5 tiffles, like that's intimidating, and that's fucking badass, and that's scary if I'm lined up across from that guy. If you're one of these old linemen,
he's a big SOB, isn't he? He's a big boy.
Yeah, that's what I want to look up. That's what I was just doing right now. I want to look up his size. Let's see. Oh, he looks good in 0, don't he?
He does look good in 0.
They have him as 6'6", 345.
Big boy.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
That's an ogre. That's a fucking cave troll from Fellowship of the Ring. If you shot a fucking arrow into his neck, you feel bad for him. That poor sad noise the cave troll makes in Fellowship. It's always stuck with me.
I don't think he's not calling him tickles. He's calling him tiffles.
No, on my radio show the other day, I accidentally kept saying tickles.
Oh, did you?
Instead of tiffles. But that's very funny as well to be like, how many tickles did you have this game?
I had a ferret named Tickles.
You had a ferret named Nichols?
Tickles.
Why was it?
Tickles?
Tickles?
Tickles.
Tickles? You had a ferret?
My sister had a ferret. We
Very
family
Tampa. I can't explain why I think this. I think that's a very Tampa pet to have. I cannot explain why. I don't know much about Tampa, to be fair. Mons Venus is the only place I've ever been there. But I can't like ferrets have kind of like a Guido, Lafayette, Jersey Shore sort of feel to me. Yeah, I don't know. Like a ferret would have your fucking fate. A ferret would absolutely have a high top fate.
R.I.P. Tickles. R.I.P.
All right, number 4 on this list, another Georgia football player. Imagine that, Malachi Starks. I didn't know this. Fuck Caleb Downs. Malachi Starks had the highest run grade among all SEC safeties last year.
He big safety too. He's about 6'2", 6'3",
using 3 picks.
He ain't afraid to get a little dirty down there in the box. Second team All-American though, behind Caleb Downs. Yeah.
That's
what I'm saying, man. If now you just waiting for you to rebuke this, but if Georgia had the NIL funds like Ohio State, you'd have the 2 best safeties in the country on one roster.
It's not if they had the funds, it's if they were willing to pay what Ohio State paid him. And they obviously weren't, which is just Kirby saying, no, I'm confident in my roster. And
I don't know. I think Kirby would take, when you look at Ohio, if you know you're going head to head with maybe the best defensive player in the country, and Ohio State's roster looks the way they look, and you're probably going to compete with them at some point in the playoffs or national championship, you're going to open up the bag if you got the bag.
You don't think, okay, so this, you know way better than I do, but you don't think Kirby gives a shit about like culture and like how this shit matters? It's like the same thing with Brian.
Caleb is a great culture guy. I don't think Caleb is any
no, not personality wise. I'm talking about just like you gotta be careful with how much you pay a single player, especially when you got a lot of superstars on that team. You don't agree with
no.
I kind of agree with what Brian Kelly said. Now he fucked it up when he said like we're not in the business of paying players because he's you're buying players. Like, duh, that's fucking stupid. Everybody is. But then what he said afterwards made sense. Where he's like, look, basically it became a situation where the juice wasn't worth the squeeze. I couldn't pay this guy more than I'm paying Will Campbell when he's a 1-year defensive line transfer. I think there's probably an element of that in Kirby's program. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you are just some little poor boys over there with your thriving state economy. Get the fuck out of here.
Mm-hmm.
You know what it's fucking like to live in Louisiana, a place that ranks dead last in literally anything that matters. Suck my fucking dick. I'm sorry, y'all. My bad. I don't need to be so crass. Number 3 on this list, Luther Burden.
Nice.
I have suffered. So I've been playing a lot of West Virginia online.
Do you want to play our game tomorrow for the show? If we have no news, just go.
I think Wednesday. I think when we do a stream before the stream. Oh yeah, but you're golfing. You always golf on Wednesdays.
No, I'm not going to golf Wednesday. I'm saying instead of a show, if there's no news, we just do a stream.
No. I'd rather do a show. The show numbers have been good, but in just pure YouTube strategy, when we go live stream right before the show, it does for whatever reason take away from the show numbers. So yeah, sorry guys. I hate that you can't play the game.
Why can't you have the game at your house?
Well, I may be getting an Xbox Series S sent my way, but I don't have a streaming setup at home anymore.
Do you have a new controller yet?
No, I'm going to purchase one after the show today.
Georgia Clemson, Wednesday, ladies and gentlemen. Wednesday.
Yeah, Wednesday. That said, I've been playing with a lot of West Virginia, and so I play only other tier 3 teams.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm pretty sure Mizzou's still considered tier 3 in that game. And because it's kind of like, I think it's also about like, it's not just whatever. The point is Luther Bird's beating my fucking ass.
Yeah.
Okay. He's awesome.
Yeah.
He's awesome. I've suffered at the hands of Luther Burden so many times recently. Here's a fun fact from Simon and Spies. 710 of his 1,200 yards came after the catch last year. So get the ball to that man in space and watch him cook.
He's not the most natural catcher of the football, but he's just, if you can get in his hands, jet sweeps, put him at Wildcat, just give him a little bubble in the slot. He's good size. It's the balance though. Like, if you go to an NFL camp, I'll say this, a lot of times you get cut if you can't stand up. Like if you're falling down all the time, if you just can't stand on your feet, your ass is gone. Like they need guys that are athletic enough to stay on their feet.
That was my biggest problem.
One of the best I've seen.
That was honestly my biggest problem on the ground too much. All out effort. I'm a classic white guy, try hard. I'll bite your fucking kneecaps, but just a little too unathletic at the end of the day, dude.
It is so difficult to get him off balance and knock him down. You gang tackle, wrap up, whatever. Like you put a shoulder pad on him, he's going to bounce off and keep going.
Number 2 on this list, LSU's offensive tackle, Will Campbell. Look, we all, he started every game since he's been in college. His first ever start was against, oh my God, who is that? Oh, Jared Verse. Yeah, no, but Jared Verse specifically. Yeah. Imagine that welcome to college football moment. And all he's done since, he kind of got beat a couple times that game. All he's done since is like never get beat again. He's been awesome. He's only 20 years old. He's not even fucking 21 yet.
Baby.
And he's just big country, man. You got to listen to him talk. He's got that deep North Louisiana country accent.
I'll tell you, the offensive lines in the SEC this year, LSU may be the best. Texas is right there with them. Yep. Georgia is right there with them. Alabama's got some big SOBs.
Yeah.
Ole
Miss did everything they could to try to rework their offensive line. So they should be way better. Tennessee's should be pretty fucking good with Mays in the middle. We talked about that the other day, and I watch out for Lance.
Missouri's offensive line's gonna be pretty good too. Like there's some really damn good offensive line. Like you probably have 4 or 5 of the top 10 offensive lines in the country, maybe like top 7 or 8 in the SEC.
And then number 1 on this list, James Pierce from Tennessee. Probably the reason why Tennessee can threaten playoffs this year and win 10 games and do all those things is because they have the SEC sack leader coming back, 10 sacks, 53 pressures. He's it's crazy too because it came out of nowhere. It was his true sophomore year last year. He's a 3-star recruit. He wasn't like some massive recruit. And then he just blows up and takes over the league by storm.
You got him, Omari there in the middle as well with him, who's a stud defensive tackle. That's what you say. Like you look at their game, the big game, one of the big games versus Alabama at home. You start getting him going off the edge with that crowd noise and how juiced that stadium's going to be.
Good luck, Corral and Jalen Milroe. Pierce can win those reps, but then what happens when
tackle Milroe in the back
runs away from you? Like Jesus, dude. I would be miserable. Now Georgia, if he can get by Georgia's line, then the pathway to getting Carson Beck on the ground may be simpler. Except that Carson will probably get rid of the ball before you'll have a chance to. Who's not? Beaumont Larry says, I'm happy with Scorton and Shamar. Yeah, look, A&M's front seven's awesome as well, like we said. And you're going to have 2 first-time starting tackles in Kyle Field game 1. That's going to be crazy. Aaron, who got left off this list for you?
Left off. I'm trying to think of, obviously, I go to quarterbacks first when I think of anyone left off.
The whole list can't be quarterbacks, dickhead.
I know, but like Jackson Dart, Jackson Dart.
I know. I do like Jackson Dart a lot.
I mean, we love ourselves some Jackson Dart. Like that's the one that obviously jumps out to me first because I think you and I both anticipate a Heisman caliber type season from him. So like, if
is there a running back that should be on here though? Are we that bereft of running backs in the SEC now that there's not even one to make the top 10 players? Because that's crazy.
I mean, when you lost Junkins from Ole Miss, like, I'm going down the list of SEC teams right now, and there isn't like this, oh my God, this all-American running back that's returning this year. Obviously, the talent's there, but I don't think anyone's like proven to us. Like, I'm bullish on ETN, what you saw in the spring game and what Georgia's offensive line looks like, and having Carson there. Like, I think ETN, talent-wise, can be an absolute stud, but they have 3 or 4 other running backs that are going to rotate, but there's not a running back. No. I think Luther obviously is kind of that dude at receiver. Ole Miss has a couple top guys, but I wouldn't characterize him as, top 10 guys. I don't know if there's another receiver out there that you would say is in that category.
I think the obvious name missing here is Graham Mertz. No, I'm fucking around. No, Trent Ritchie says Harold Perkins. And he would be a guy that I understand why he's not on this list, but by years in, I actually do expect him to be.
Yep.
I was listening to Blake Baker, the new DC's press conference over the weekend, and he is effusive in the Harold Perkins hype, Aaron. Like, he is not shying away from it. He's not playing any like, well, no, he's like, he looks fucking awesome and he's getting better and like, it's going to be fucking awesome. So I can't wait to watch Perkins this year. He could end up on this list by year's end.
Good list, though. Good list. I would say those two.
Yeah, good job, Jesse Simonton from On 3. Great work, bud. And I mean like that is a truly friendly bud. Normally when people say bud, I always think it comes off as condescending. That's why I don't normally say it. So I apologize that I just said it now. Do you agree?
That bud is usually like more of a
like normally if somebody
pisses
says
me
bud,
off.
shut the fuck. Who the fuck?
Yeah,
bud?
I'm not your fucking bud.
Yeah,
You
get the
fucking
fuck
know
out of
me.
here, nerd.
Mate.
Cam Ward. I'm not Australian. Cam Ward says he reveals his most important piece to being a quarterback. He was sitting down with DJ Manuel, said, quote, I think the most important piece is seeing the field, seeing space, seeing leverage off guys, being a leader. I think the best thing, is I try to help other quarterbacks in our room with just seeing space, because the more you see space, the more you can put defense in a predicament. I like this answer, and it's one, Aaron, I grew up in a quarterback household, and, my old man was always very much decision-making and accuracy. That was everything. Do you know where to get it, and can you get it there?
I was about to say
that. But this feels kind of like a new age type of answer, and it kind of reminds me of when you listen to elite chess players talk about chess. It's never rote memorization. They see patterns, right? And it feels like when shit, I'm trying to fucking see the patterns on NCAA. Playing quarterback is so fucking hard. I have no idea how you did that shit in real life.
Yeah, especially knowing that like you can get your head blown off at any given second. I would still say like decision making. Like I've always been taught, and this is even from like my time in Kansas City, like just taking care of the football, man. Like that is football 101. Like the basics of the game.
Doesn't the space hold? Like, isn't that wrapped up into it with it?
If you understand how your offense works and how certain, like you alluded to, how certain concepts become more doable versus different coverages, all that, like what makes Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers and all these guys, they've seen every route combination go against every single defense. So they understand the spacing of the routes and how that's going to work to be able to go out there and execute it. So yes, like that is part of the maturity of playing the position, is seeing more defenses and playing more offense and just going over and over again. So yes, but you still have to make the right decision, and you still have to have the accuracy to go out there and execute.
Yeah.
I think it all goes hand in hand, but yeah, the other thing is people say the game slowed down. That is truly when you get to the point where the game slows down for you, is when you can anticipate instead of reacting.
Yes.
And they're presenting this, I have this, and this is how I'm going to beat it before the ball's even snapped.
So you talk about the importance of, and I'm just going to pick your brain here for a little bit. You talk about the importance of protecting the ball over everything. So then how do you avoid a Drew Aller situation where you go so far with that you handcuff a guy and you take away from what he can be?
You're talking about from a coaching perspective? Like, why would they do that?
No, not why would they do that. I understand why coaches want to protect the ball over everything. I just mean like as a quarterback, because you were a bit of a gunslinger. So how do you within yourself find the line of, I need to engage in risk, but I can't be too risky? Like how do you sand down those edges?
I think the personnel around you helps. I think Penn State doesn't have the All-American type receivers on the outside that maybe give you the confidence to just let it rip at times.
Okay, so like some trust. Like I got AJ Green.
I got AJ Green. I can kind of just experiment a little bit. I mean, you go back to Brett Favre, or excuse me, Aaron Rodgers. Backed up Brett Favre for 3 years. What did he do for those 3 years? Every day in practice, he just fucked around and tried every single throw he could imagine possible. Sidearm, this window, that window. So like he learned what he could physically and physically not do. So like, Carson did the same thing. Carson had, 3 years of backup quarterback, and he went against the best defense in the country for 3 years. Figured out what he could and couldn't do. So like some guys are awarded the opportunity to experiment in practice, and they're so talented, the coaches are fine if they mess up here or there. Other guys that are thrust into it at an early age do get a little bit gun shy. So I think that's a problem. And that's just another issue that we're going to see with Nico at Tennessee. Super talented, no doubt about it. Is there a moment of being gun shy because of the expectations and not wanting to mess up?
And I can't, I think it's fascinating to try to I can't really fathom. It's hard to put myself in those shoes, having that much pressure on you. I mean, again, guys, anybody else who's playing NCAA is learning, just how hard the position can be. And it's on such a stupid fake level. And then multiply by 1,000,000, add in on the physical challenges, add in, how far do you push the envelope? It's insane to try to wrap your head around. And again, it's why about 12 people in the country can do that job at an acceptable level in any given year. There's about 12 NFL fan bases that will be happy with their NFL quarterback this upcoming season.
True.
Texas A&M suffers a bit of a blow as Reuben Owens is going to miss the entire season. He led all freshmen last year in rushing yards and kick return yards. He was expected to be one of the top playmakers this season for A&M. So I don't think it's as impactful as Notre Dame losing their left tackle, Charles Jagusa, that we talked about at length, but maybe in a bit of the cosmic scales going into that week 1 matchup, it evens out a bit. I don't know. Do you have anything to say on this, Aaron? We don't have to
No, I mean, it's camp. I mean, there's going to be a handful of these that we'll hear.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate. But I mean, I guess the one silver lining is, would you rather have it now or would you rather have it in at some point during the season? At least now for
if you're the player,
not as a player, but I'm just going from a team perspective right now. I know now that I don't have a certain individual, and now I got to figure out what my team looks like.
Yeah, true.
So it sucks for one way or the other, but I mean, you got 2 weeks now for A&M and Notre Dame, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, whatever that game is to figure it out.
Now, to be fair, they still return their leading rush from last year, Mari Daniels. They get Le'Veon Moss back. I didn't realize this. They got Emmitt Smith's son in the transfer portal, E.J. Smith from Stanford. So that's kind of fun. But yeah, shout out to anybody who gets hurt in preseason. It's the most fucking brutal to go through all the shit of the offseason and then not get to do the only fun part of football. So T's and P's to Reuben Owens, and just come back stronger, bro. One day at a time. That's how you got to focus on recovery. We have another all-time Jim Harbaugh line. So I went on a bit of a weird deep dive on the genesis of the Jim Harbaugh drama with Michigan, because the rumors are that it was all about a cheeseburger at this place, the Brown Jug. And it turns out it was about a burger, but not at the Brown Jug. Basically, during COVID, Jim Harbaugh took a recruit and his dad to a diner to go eat. This is when in-person contact was not allowed. And the key piece of evidence that the NCAA is citing that this all has spun out of before the Stallion stuff and whatnot is a receipt featuring a breakfast burger at this restaurant. But Harbaugh, I don't exactly know when this quote was from. I don't think it's from too recently. But when asked about it, because he has denied it. He got in trouble for 2 meetings with recruits. He has denied it. Said, I don't remember what you're talking about. Like, I do not remember what you're talking about. And so it's like, okay, well, does he really not remember? Because we have the receipts, literally, so we know that it took place. Here's what Harbaugh said about his memory. He said, quote, "I used to have a mind like a steel trap. Now it's more of an aluminum trap. But I would believe in my state that I would remember having breakfast at the diner." So next time your wife's asking about some shit, be like, "Babe, my mind's gone aluminum."
It's gone. It's aluminum. Ain't nothing left. I'm sorry. Can we just leave Jim alone? Just like, what are you going to do at this point? Just look.
Oh no, to be clear, I'm highlighting this for the aluminum
hilarious.
trap.
It's hilarious.
Or as the UK would say, aluminium. God, I love
seeing Harbaugh now in the NFL still wearing 2 gloves in the pregame catching footballs on the field.
God, he's such a fucking
in his baby blue. Just
again,
smiling away.
If you're weird and you win, you're quirky.
Yep.
If you're weird and you win and you lose, you're just weird. Yeah. It's like if you're a dick and you win, you're just a little surly. But if you're a dick and you lose, you're a dick. Yeah. So winning's all that matters. Speaking of Iowa, we mentioned him earlier, 110 games last year, trying to get better at QB on offense this year. How about this, Aaron Murray? Who's going to be Iowa's starting quarterback? Cade McNamara, right?
I guess not. Nope.
There is apparently a competition up there in Iowa. And I loved this piece when I read it on The Athletic, because in the beginning of it, it says, in an open practice Saturday, Brendan Sullivan outplayed Cade McNamara so clearly that he changed, or that basically Kirk Ferentz has to reevaluate the pecking order. And so I'm like, oh, fuck, dude. Like, that's
But
crazy.
Has Kurt said anything about reevaluating? Or this is just
no. But so like very clear, I'm like, oh shit, dude, this dude must have balled out. So I'm like, okay, what are Brendan Sullivan's stats?
5 of 8 for 70 yards.
His Brendan Sullivan's stats from the scrimmage in which he so clearly outplayed Cade McNamara that we have to redo things was 10 of 21 for 76 yards.
What was Cade's?
8 of 24 for 20 yards and a pick 6.
That's because they're going against Iowa's defense. They're going against Iowa's defense.
24 passes, completed 8, and gained 20 yards. McNamara's cooked. I mean, when you have a guy that can go 10 and 21 for 76, you have to go with that guy.
And he doesn't throw a pick 6, because if you ain't giving up pick 6s, you probably have a chance of winning with that defense. So, and ball control. What I say, you want to win the quarterback competition, you want to be good, protect the damn football. So,
Alva's right. For Iowa, that might as well be a 400-yard game.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, so going into camp, Ferentz had clearly named McNamara the starter. Now, a week in, he's now saying, like, we have to evaluate that position and blah, blah, blah. So he is opening the door for Sullivan. How about this, though? Sullivan is 6'4". Sullivan had better numbers last year. McNamara's numbers were kind of like his scrimmage numbers last year. There was like 4 tuds, 3 picks, like 500 yards. They were trash. I want to say Sullivan at Northwestern had like more yards, maybe like a 6-2 touchdown to interception ratio.
Cade last year, 51% completion, 5.6 yard average.
Yeah. Awful.
Oh,
awful, bro. That's what I'm saying.
Iowa's court. We talk about Nebraska and like, Nebraska's going to improve because if their quarterback can just get better, like they have to because the team is so good. Iowa last year, if you go back and look at the stats, this is their quarterback stats last year. 48% completion, 1,600 yards, 4.8 yard average, so less than 5 yard average.
Wait,
9 touchdowns.
Wait, is that completion average?
Yes,
that's not even yards per attempt.
That's completion average. 48% completion percentage, 4.8 yard average, 9 touchdowns, 11 interceptions.
Oh my! And they went 10 and fucking 2.
They went 10 and 2 like that.
Let's fucking go, guys. That is sicko shit. Iowa quarterbacks averaged 4.8 yards per attempt last year. Oh my God.
Ooh.
But how about this though? Did I say that? Sullivan's way bigger too. He's 6'4", 220. I think Cade McNamara is like 6 foot or 6'1". So
yeah, 6'1", 210. So probably 6 foot 200.
Yeah. So
that's what I was labeled. 6'1", 210. I was probably 6 foot 200.
Nah, bro. You're like 6'3" in my you little fucking rabbit. Yeah. You little rabbit. So watch out in Iowa, guys. McNamara is a solid football name, Bo. I agree, but unfortunately, it's just not enough. No. Zach says Iowa single-handedly saving the white cornerback species of the NFL. Yeah, how about this? Aaron, there's 3 white cornerbacks expected to make rosters right now. Yeah. Riley Moss, Cooper DeJean, and a third guy who came from I can't remember his name. Wild.
I played with one in Kansas City.
Bullshit.
Yeah, I did. Started safety.
Okay, that doesn't count. It's a corner. There's
Oh,
plenty of
boy.
white safeties. What
There's
are you
not
talking
plenty
about?
of white safeties.
Yes, there are, bro. White safety
Sure
is like
more.
one of the football archetypes.
That's true.
It's
Okay.
like and he's always like a little thrown
Nickel,
off.
too. He played a little nickel too.
He's always like a little thrown off, and he fucking
What was
loves
32?
contact.
Yeah, what was number 32 for the Chargers? loved
Eric
him.
Weddle.
Yeah, Weddle.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, true.
Anyway, everybody's played with a white safety, is all I'm saying. I never played with a white corner, except for high school. That shit don't count. On today's episode of How to Piss Off Aaron's Wife, what was your favorite sorority, Aaron?
The Katie's at Georgia, but I got banned after my freshman year.
You
Unfortunately,
got wait, what do you mean? Who banned you? The house mom? How does this work?
I think they just came together after I dumped one of the girls, and they like came together and just fuck Aaron. He's not allowed to date any more of us, so was not allowed to date a Katie the rest of my time.
But here's the real test: did anybody go scab and break the picket line?
Yeah, but not like official dating, of course.
Yeah, of course.
Nothing was official though after that. Yeah.
Damn. Aaron's the sorority union buster. They bring him in there to bust in her. Man. Okay. Man, no, House of Dragon last night sucked. Too.
Oh, and I guess to this too, Sharon was a KD, but then she dropped after her freshman year. So I ended up fucking them because I still got a KD when it was all said and done.
Eat it, nerds.
Yeah,
let's
eat it,
go.
bitches.
That's QB1. Okay, whoa, relax. You can't call women bitches. You can call other people bitches. You cannot. You need to pump the brakes right there.
Can we edit this out, please? Sorry.
I will keep this out of the audio podcast. That boy Aaron dumped the whole sorority. You did. You dumped an entire sorority at once. Unbelievable. Never seen it before. All right, that'll do it for today's show. We love you. All ready for tomorrow's show. I'm thinking this, guys. Excuse me. I'm thinking top position groups in the country. And then the Athletic had a fun teams that are not ranked that could threaten the playoffs. And then we'll see what else breaks over today. So we love you. Have a great day. And we'll see you tomorrow for some more snaps.